There are premium increases that have previously been approved. I think that people are doing it tough, obviously, with many people losing their jobs in the heartbreaking scenes we're seeing across the country. The absolutely heartbreaking scenes we're seeing outside Centrelink offices across the country. I recognise this is a complicated issue and the government's got to think about the viability of private health insurance, but anything which can take pressure off people at a time when budgets are under enormous pressure should be very much considered.
Just in regards to the Ruby cruise ship, there was obviously 2 of those cases this morning in the updated figures were linked to children. Has Labor's position changed at all, given that that children are obviously at risk of contracting this disease?
Well, children have always been at risk of contracting the disease. All the medical evidence is that they get it more mildly than other people, but they've always been at risk of getting it. That's been all the medical advice to me, and publicly as well. The concern has always been primarily about schools and children, to go to the nub of your question, about the impact of spreading. Parents should be assured that, by and large, all the medical advice is that children will get through the virus more successfully than older people. But it's about public health. And here, this is frankly a mess. You've got the Prime Minister encouraging people to send their children to school. You've got the Premier of New South Wales encouraging people not to send their children to school. You've got Victoria closing schools. We've said consistently that as school closures become increasingly likely, the government should put in place measures to help healthcare workers and to communicate to parents what the arrangements are. Instead, we have this game of open shut them between the Prime Minister and the Premier of New South Wales, which is sending terrible mixed messages to families and parents who really don't know whether to listen to the Prime Minister or the Premier. Well, I think most in New South Wales are listening to the Premier. The Prime Minister has got to provide national leadership. The government has got to stop hiding behind the so-called National Cabinet, which is a COAG hookup, and actually provide some national coordination, because in the absence of that, Gladys Berejiklian and Dan Andrews are showing the leadership of dealing with schools and giving kids and parents clear messages.
Just on Dan Andrews, he's flagged that there's potential for us to go to stage 3 at some point. Do you think that going to stage 3 quicker would potentially help clear up some of those mixed messages that you're talking about?
Do more, do it earlier. It's been our consistent message to the government. If you think something's going to happen, do it now. We know from all the evidence overseas, if you leave these decisions too late, you'll have to do more anyway, and more people will die. Statement of fact. If in doubt, do more. There is no such thing as an overreaction to this crisis. And let me say this final thing in relation to your question. I see people saying, well, the government's got to balance the economy against health. No. I completely reject that. The best economic plan for the country is to beat this virus quickly. That's the best stimulus. That's the best thing that will get people in work. That's the best thing that will save businesses. Don't let this virus take hold, beat it, which means taking action earlier, taking it stronger and taking it more smartly.
Where does Labor